really bothers me.
All right, I think we're on.
Are we?
I think so. Can y'all hear me?
Here we are. Do you want me to turn this up? I know it might echo.
Testing. Everybody.
Yep, we're good.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Sorry for the delay, fellas and ladies. We're testing out some new software, so we don't have some of the same hiccups that we did before. But as we get into the discussion here with all the staff, changes and whatnot, I wanted to get your thoughts on, first off, because I haven't spoken to you regarding Graham Harrell, him deciding to stay at USC.
I mean, you have spoken.
I mean, in front of the people, right?
I think it's a kick in the stomach on that one.
Did you? I don't know if we ever had this conversation on camera, so I want to get to this first. Did we ever talk about your desire of who you wanted for OC? Who, some of the people you had identified? Because I know not everybody was. That was their ideal person.
I didn't have someone pinpointed. Technically, I did kind of want us to flirt a little bit with the NFL to see if we can get one of those guys who, especially since it worked so well with LSU, they brought them out of the dumps of offensive coordinators and like kicked up their offense within just a summer. I wanted them to just experiment with that, but it's just showing that Tom Herman just wants to hire people that he knows, and that's something that we have discussed a lot. That we want him to have people that will challenge him and not just be yes men. And it doesn't seem like he's going to be doing that. It seems like he's going to hire himself another person he's worked with previously, and I don't know if that's the right move. Honestly,
do you think that's because he feels like his job is on the line? And not even job on the line, but like the hot seat starting to get there, and the possibility of all that pressure. It's like, if I'm gonna go out my way, and I want to work with people that I know I'm comfortable with. Only because I've had success in the past as an offensive coordinator. I've won a national championship as an offensive coordinator. I had success at Houston doing it my way. Now we also complain that, hey, you brought over all your G5 guys, and a lot of those guys haven't been able to cut it in a Power 5 conference like the Big 12. Now he may probably go, and this is going to lead me to the next guy, Major Applewhite, who they had some success.
Has been brought up a lot recently.
Absolutely, and for those of you who don't remember, Major Applewhite was offensive coordinator here for a while, right? Mm-hmm. Co-OC, with Brian Harsin until the last season when he was by himself, and then I think that was 2013, and then obviously 2014 he resigned when Charlie Strong came on board, right? So I'm just really curious as to Tom Herman's thinking, and that's why I said in that video I made yesterday, what does Tom Herman want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is, I think he wants his fingerprints all over the offense on it. I think you're right in that regard, that he does feel like his seat is warming up a little bit, and he thinks that still hiring his people, he can control it the way he wants. But honestly, if that doesn't work, I mean, it's his job. Wouldn't you want to go out there and get people who are successful, the best? That's one of the keys to hiring is, hire the best person for the job. Don't hire someone that will be a yes man to you or anything like that.
Oh, they said the ranch is blocking you a little bit, Trent.
Sorry.
No, Hopefully it's a little bit better. We have a tight set here today.
Tom Herman's it before.
Daniel, I want to address a comment on here. So Daniel, when he's talking about Major Applewhite's not employable Austin, to my knowledge, the lawsuit was settled last year. So if assuming, I'm sure that would have to be signed off by Greg Fenves and the whole administration. But at this point, if Tom Herman wants to go that direction, it's very clear to me that he wants to have full control over what we're doing. Not full control, but he wants to have a big say on what we're doing offensively. And calling plays, whether he wants to admit it or not, is very near and dear to his heart.
Of course.
That's what he wants to do. Mm-hmm. He wants to be a play caller. And they've been giving us BS answers for I don't know how long about the play calling. Every press conference, they're like, well, we got Drew Mack. It's a team effort. No, you want to call them. But just be honest. So I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a huge problem with Applewhite coming back. Yeah, he left on bad terms. The issue that I have with him is that we're losing a lot of recruits recently due to player relationships with coaches, and he's not the best with player relationships. He pissed off maybe Houston's possibly best.
Ed Oliver?
Yeah. And not only that, I know stories of him pissing off other people within the locker room as well. But
can I get the other water?
Yeah, they're behind your screen.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, you got me too.
Yeah.
Man, that's love.
That's love. They keep us on.
Hey, Jared, what did you say in IG? I didn't read my IG messages. I'm sorry, man.
We want you to read them, though.
Jared might have some intel.
Oh, okay.
I'll check it out when Trant's talking. There's a lot of things I want to get into, guys. I want to talk about some of the things I wanted to cover in the video I wanted to make regarding Chris Ash and just some of the historical aspects of Texas defensive coordinators over the last 9 years. I think it's going to be some very interesting numbers that we can get into. Before we get into that, we didn't even do an intro. We just started talking. I'm trying out some new software for YouTube. So once it went live, I was like, oh, we're on.
Yeah, we're on.
But it's cool, man. So we got 142 people in here, it looks like right now. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button. I only see 7 likes, so make sure y'all hit that. Make sure you guys are subscribing so you get the notifications and updates on when we're going to go live or when we're posting a video. Also, shout outs to our sponsors, Boss's Ranch. Y'all chime in with the bosses. My man Connor said Boss's Water, and my man Connor was feeling my dip comment the other day. So, just overall, guys, they're a phenomenal partner. You can find them at your HEB Cold Produce. Really thankful for those guys. The other thing I wanted to comment on is I do have a donation for PayPal. If anybody wants to send donations, if you guys want to do Super Chat, whatever. I'm trying to invest more into the software, the equipment on the channel. Matthew's actually away on break right now, so we don't have a producer. We're kind of doing it ourselves at the moment. I will be in Dallas all of next week, so I will be with Matthew to have some more produced videos, but I appreciate y'all and everything, all the support for the channel. Now, Tran, Chris Ash. Let's talk about Chris Ash real quick. Going over the last few days, how is the decision to go? Because today was official, right?
Yeah.
That they all they had their statements. Chris Ash had his statement. Tom Herman had his statement.
I mean, it was official a while ago, but
right. They made
it
pub. They made it pub. They went Facebook official today.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
In a relationship.
What are your expectations?
So he's brought here my expectations. Just to answer that real quick is to be aligned. I want fundamental defense. I want them to be able to tackle in space. I want them to play the ball better, and I want to see a tenacious defensive line getting pressure. I mean, that's what I want to see. If he can get us to do that, I think we'll be good.
So,
second question.
No. Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is, because this is going to lead me into where I'm going with the Chris Ash stuff. And we didn't even talk about this, so this is going to be good for the show. The four going to a 4-3. We've heard somebody, I think it was, who messaged me on Instagram yesterday, and then I saw something on Facebook today. I can't remember, and I'm sorry, brother, but he messaged me saying they might consider B.J. Foster at middle linebacker, or something creative. Like I know I just saw your face. Like considering you have there's some crazy personnel things that I'm hearing. And okay. I'm excited about the 4-man front with the line with the personnel that we have.
I do like that.
But I've heard some craziness about B.J. Foster potentially playing linebacker. I don't know if y'all have heard that. I'll check the comments.
I don't mind him playing closer to the line, but middle linebacker is a different beast, man. It is. I don't mind him playing even outside linebacker, but.
Yeah, we skipped all that. They went straight to middle.
Yeah, so that kind of throws me off. What other weird things have you been hearing?
Where's Joe? The biggest thing for me is where's Joseph Osai going to play?
Do you think they're moving him to D end?
He's so that's why I'm so upset that we're changing the defense the way we are, because he's a perfect 3-4 outside linebacker. Well, we just didn't rush him enough.
We don't need to change the defensive scheme. We kind of play a hybrid 4-3. Like every once in a while we walk someone down. Yeah, he's standing up, but we have the personnel for a 3-3-5.
Well, they're going another direction.
I see that.
So Joseph Osai, I mean, he'd be terrific defensive end. I mean, he'd have to probably put on a few pounds, but he's so versatile. And I want to put guys in a position to maximize some of that versatility. The brother Simmons from Clemson, he lined up everywhere for Clemson, but they still managed to rush him enough and rush him effectively. I'm not saying Joseph Osai is that level of athlete or has that kind of speed. Remember they said he had like 4.3 speed?
I don't think 4.3.
Let's
get out of here with
that. They said
but,
it's been official.
I would be very...
What's the brother's name? Isaiah Simmons or something like that? Yeah, they said he had like 4.3 speed.
I thought you were talking about Osai.
No. I'm talking about the brother on Clemson.
I was like Osai? I was like, I'd be shocked if he had like a 4.45.
Nah, there's a brother on Clemson. He's number 11. Y'all see him in the playoff game. You know, some of y'all know who I'm talking about. But it's really, really interesting. Hey, I appreciate you guys making donations. Really, really appreciate it. I added some cool little. Hopefully, the gifts are coming up if they if people are in there. But I don't know. Anyway, my point though is guys like that. Where how do we utilize them? So I want to get to some of the historical stuff with Chris Ash, because I can make the argument with Chris Ash that he's going to have, so going back to 2011 when Will Muschamp just went to Florida, right? And we hire Manny Diaz.
Yes.
Okay. And y'all going to laugh when I bring up Manny Diaz. Okay, Isaiah Simmons, he won the Buckus. Yeah, that brother's cold, man. That brother's cold. So Manny Diaz, but good to my point. Manny Diaz comes in. Mm-hmm. Year one, Manny Diaz, we're 34th in the country, second total defense in the Big 12, right? And I'll go through some of the names they had that they had year one, right? So then we go 2013, he gets fired after the BYU game. Taysom Hill gets him fired.
8,000 yards.
Yes, yeah. Okay. So Taysom Hill gets him fired. Yeah, I'm going in right now, Mr. Nathan. So 2014, Vance Bedford comes in with Charlie Strong. Mm-hmm. Vance Bedford that year one, he installs the 3-3-5, had a little bit more multiple looks. We finished 25th in the country in defense. Second again in the Big 12 total defense. Defense was very good in 2014. They were 22nd in the country on third down percentage on defense. He gets fired midway through his third year, right? And Charlie Strong takes over the defense. Then Todd Orlando comes in. We maintain the 3-3-5, get a little bit more aggressive with it. He's obviously more exotic than Vance Bedford was. Todd Orlando, 2017, year one. We finished tied for 41st in total defense in the country, second or third in the Big 12, but we finished third in the country in third down defense at a whopping 27%.
And we held every Big 12 team under 30 points, too.
So going down, you starting to see the trend here. Mm-hmm. So 2011, Manny Diaz comes in. 2014, Vance Bedford. These are all their year ones. 2017, year one is Todd Orlando. Everybody was a rock star their first year. I can make the argument that Chris Ash is going to inherit more talent than the three of them inherited.
Maybe not Manny Diaz.
Okay. So I thought about this.
Maybe not.
So let me go through some of the names that Manny Diaz inherited.
The Acho brothers.
No, because Sam Acho had already gone. He only had Emmanuel Acho. He didn't have.
He had Keenan Robinson.
He had Keenan Robinson, Manny Acho, Blake Gideon, Kenny Vaccaro, Alex Okafor, Jackson Jeffcoat, and Keeson Randall.
Okay.
And when I say those names, I'm talking about like your seniors. Like the only person that was a junior, or there was two juniors, Vaccaro and Okafor were juniors, and Jeffcoat was a sophomore. Hey, Mr. Adu, I appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
We also had Diggs and also Jordan Hicks, right?
But I'm talking about your senior leaders. They were like freshmen and sophomore. I'm talking about inheriting, because my point is this. Inheriting people that had starts, that had experience. Manny Diaz inherited a lot of people that had a lot of experience, a lot of starts. So I just went through that. Manny Acho led the team in tackles, Keenan Robinson, all those guys, right? Then 2014, Vance Bedford inherits a senior Jordan Hicks, a senior Quandre Diggs, right? A junior Duke Thomas, a senior Michael Thompson. All these people got drafted, right? Steve Edmond didn't get drafted, but he was a senior starting middle linebacker, right? Desmond Jackson at defensive tackle, Ced Reed at defensive tackle, Hassan Ridgeway, right? And then you had Malcolm Brown, who was a junior, who ended up leaving, and that was our last first round pick. That was a lot of talent that Vance Bedford and experience that he inherited. Todd Orlando inherits a senior Poona Ford, a junior Malik Jefferson, a junior Charles Omenihu, a junior Deshaun Elliott, like Nashawn Hughes, Holton Hill, a junior Chris Boyd. He inherits a lot of starts.
Yeah.
Chris Ash is going to inherit a crap load of starts. When you think about it, the only two people, we're losing three starters, and one of them didn't really play that much this year, in Jeffrey McCulloch. The other two are Malcolm Roach and Brandon Jones. Everybody else has started at least a game or played a lot. You see what I'm saying? So I'm getting to the point with Chris Ash of, I expect him to be good year one, because that's been the trend. Yeah. Especially when you change something up.
He's got a older offense. I mean, a defense. He's got an older who's tenured too, and they've had a lot of big game experience, and they've had.
Matthew Freeman, thank you for the donation. I'm sorry, guys, I was ranting, so I haven't been able to pay attention to that. But I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. But go ahead.
No, you're right. He has to be. But at the same time, we can't judge him off of year one because we're expecting him to be good. If year two he starts crapping the bed, he's going down the list of those names, and it's hey, he did it with someone else's recruiting class.
So to your point, Manny Diaz year two, the defense dips into the 60s or whatever. Yeah. Vance Bedford year two, defense dips. Todd Orlando year two, defense dips.
The good that he has of this is that he has a team that he could have a lot of people that are there for the second year too.
That's a good point.
He's
not going to have a whole bunch of seniors. Now, he may have some guys that if they perform well, like a Caden Stearns, may have opportunity to leave early. Colburn, but for the most part, he should have guys that are going to be.
Hey, they're gonna come back for a third year.
Now, a question I have for you in the chat is, why are we struggling so much in year three with these coordinators defensively? Is it just a matter of people leaving and we're not able to get guys coached up and up to speed, our younger guys, where we don't, and it's like our defensive coordinators are only at the mercy of their people's starts? Or is it the conference catching up schematically with what these guys are doing in terms of tendencies?
So I think it's a combination of both. It really is, and not only that, getting those people the actual reps within the game, that's a huge thing. We've talked about that with the offense. Hey, if we're blowing a team out, I want to see Casey Thompson get some passes. Things like that. Getting real game speed is different than, all right, well, during off season we're playing against the guys we know. It's and once people get film on the way you actually run your scheme, they
adjust.
Can pick it apart, honestly.
But what about Gary Patterson? He's been running defense in this league for how long?
Since he's been here. So,
I mean, like, there's not. I mean, now there's not that many great defensive minds in the Big 12. Maybe, I don't know, but like Gary Patterson is the one that just jumps off my head. And I'm like, I feel like he's been able to weather this storm. Now, not to say TCU's had elite defense every year. I'm not saying that either. They've gotten lit up like a Christmas tree at times. However, it's just puzzling. Like, I mean, are we at some point we can't say that all these guys couldn't coach? Mm-hmm. You can't say Manny Diaz, like, I know Vance Bedford's not coaching right now, but like Todd Orlando, like, we're just gonna just dismiss everybody as they can't coach when they all were hitting year one with somebody else's. Everybody was hitting with somebody else's players, right? So I want to read through here a little bit, and look at these names, Tran. Caden Stearns is going to be a junior. This is what Chris Ash will inherit in 2020. He will inherit a junior Caden Stearns who started 2 years, a junior BJ Foster, DeMarvion Overshawn, Anthony Cook, Jalen Green, Marquez Bimage, Taquan Graham, Joseph Osai, Keandre Coburn, Jawan Mitchell, Chris Brown, Tavondre Sweat, Deli O'Day.
Did you get Josh Thompson in there?
Josh Thompson.
Coming back.
Deshaun Jameson. Mm-hmm. That doesn't even include Maro Jomo, people like Maro Jomo, Kenyatta Watson, Tyler Owens, Chris Adamora, who played a little bit, right? They didn't play as much as the guys but all the other people I listed got starts in the big, like in games, right? So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I want to catch up with.
And we also got a pretty good D line coming in too, class. If they all stay,
All right, I'm trying to. You guys are. I think we got some Oklahoma folks in here. Donovan, brother Donovan, what's going on with the alleged suspensions or whatever? I've been hearing some scuttlebutt about guys getting in trouble. What's going on that way?
For Oklahoma.
For Oklahoma, I'm not even trying to troll. I just want to know what's going on. I haven't gotten. Did the thing freeze?
No, it's still running.
Oh, mine is just behind. Yeah, I was hearing some scuttlebutt about some guys getting in trouble for drugs or something. I don't know. I mean, Blue Diamond Jim, thank you for the donation. Said Tom Herman is the problem. The coordinators are not. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Tom Herman definitely has the buck stops with him because he's the head coach, and I do agree with you that Todd Orlando shouldn't have been fired. I think I've been very vocal about that, and I think you agree on that as well. However, we have said that coaches and assistant coaches on this staff, some of the guys he brought over from G5, need to be held accountable. Like when we went out and got a Herb Hand from Auburn, we saw an uptick there with the offensive line, right? And I don't know what his background was, if he had worked with a Herb Hand before, but I felt like that was a good hire that he went and made and brought somebody in that made a difference. And you just have to be constantly tweaking things, guys. And I want to make this point clear too. I'm not upset that Graham Harrell didn't come. If he elected to stay at USC, I understood that was a possibility. I'm upset that there was a lack of transparency in terms of what Tom Herman wanted, because he said one thing and did another. Mm-hmm. He said he wanted to divest the offense because he didn't want to be involved in all that type of stuff. But now you want somebody to run your scheme, and it sounds like you may even still want to be hands-on. I'm just hearing mixed messages. And I think that's where a lot of my frustration comes in. And then if you didn't want to switch to air raid, then why'd you go down that path of trying to pursue him? That's just my.
And also, he's setting a bad example too. I mean, he's stating, like, if I'm an offensive coordinator, am I really going to go to a school where the guy's going to be in in your ear every 10 seconds. Oh, you shouldn't be running that one right there or anything like that. No, if I'm the best man for the job, let me do my job. Let me do what I was paid to do. If I start messing up, that's when you can actually come in and start chiming in. But it's like with any other job, if you found out that your manager is going to be micromanaging you to death, are you going to want to work underneath him? No.
Not going to last very long. Let's see here. Williams said Tom Herman wants someone to run the offense that he has in place. And that's a very valid point. My own thing is don't send mixed messages. That should have been the message from the beginning. Hey, we had a number 15 offense in the country, which they did. They had the number 15 offense in the country, total offense. Guys, we had a lull at the kind of in the middle of this, from Oklahoma on, where we had some issues. We stalled. But overall, we think we're close on our product. Our offensive product's not terrible. We had a good offensive product the year before. At one point this season, we were even better, right? So I want to keep the offense I'm running the same. I just want to make some tweaks so we don't run into those stalls next year. Plus, we're going to be losing some guys. We're going to be losing a Devin Duvernay. We're going to be losing a Colin Johnson. So I need to diversify things a little bit more. But instead, it's just like, I'm firing this person, and we're going to go out and I want to divest this to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Like that's a mixed message. And that's all I'm saying. All right. I'm sorry, I asked y'all about the OU stuff, and I need to jump back in here.
Someone said, I heard some guys got in trouble 6 and 8, but the message boards made it sound like a rumor or the counter argument that OU hasn't said much because they're appealing it with B samples. A lot of people are saying it just sounds like rumors.
Yeah, and so speaking of rumors, somebody on here said, I believe Ty was fired because he lost players' trust. And I mean, that could very well be the case. I'm not in the locker room. I'm sorry, I was just reading the end of the OU stuff. I'm not in the locker room. So I don't know what the issue is. It sounds and one thing that is telling is when somebody gets fired, how do people that recently left react? Mm-hmm. Didn't seem like people were overtly sad about Coach Orlando publicly. Like when you've seen people get fired in the past and like the players are in an uproar. Yep. Like what the, like Charlie Strong was one of those people, believe it or not. Yeah. Remember Breckenhager and Zach Shackelford talked about that this year. They were very, very upset when he got let, but they also didn't do enough to help him keep his job. Yeah. But I am, to the guy's point that just made it here, that is something that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Alex Renneria said, are you going to do a live stream or video for signing day? I'll probably do a video tomorrow. I do have some Christmas thing with my wife tomorrow evening, but I'll probably record a video during the day and get that out on our class. So I want to hold off on the recruiting stuff tomorrow until we get people signed. And then also, since I'm going to be going out of town, we'll do our bowl prep this weekend. Okay. For Utah. I'll be honest with y'all, with all the stuff going on, I have not even begun Utah prep. I have not watched a lick of tape. I've only watched them casually as a fan, but I haven't gone on and scoured through and really got myself familiar with their team. But once I do, that will be coming this weekend because we have a clock on us since we won't be together for a week.
Yeah, Quentin decommitting huge. Huge. We were talking about that beforehand.
Yeah. So that was just another blow last night. So he decommits before or after I made the video. I dropped that video and then the Snapchat thing comes out and then it becomes official
you
that
think he stays if we get Harrell?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the wide receiver's best friend.
He saw Pittman and all those guys at USC get numbers in Graham Harrell's offense, period. And there's a myth going on about Graham Harrell, and we need to stop talking about him and move forward. But there's a myth from the people that are like, well, I don't want to air raid because Graham Harrell doesn't run the ball. BS. Graham Harrell, runs the ball when he has running backs and an actual offensive line to do so. USC had some issues there. They weren't able to run the football well this year. If you go back to his last 2 years at North Texas, the brother Jeff Wilson Jr., who is currently on the San Francisco 49ers, vulturing touchdowns every week, had 16 touchdowns, and
Sounds
I believe
like a replace from Hurt right there.
as a former Tevin Coleman owner, I was salty about Jeff Wilson Jr. All right, I'll just leave it at that. Some of you guys who own some of these San Francisco running backs know what I'm talking about in fantasy football. Anyway, Jeff Wilson Jr. from North Texas had like 16 touchdowns rushing, like 1,500 rushing yards. North Texas as a team, 2017, I believe, ran for 2,300 yards. Last year when he was there, they ran for another 2,000 yards with the other brothers that filled in. They run it's just like Cliff's offense or Sonny Cumbie or any other guys coming out of the air raid. That, yes, it is pass heavy, but there are run tendencies and concepts that they will implement based on personnel. That's all that's my only point. That's why he was trying to get a Bijan Robinson to go to USC so bad so he could run the football. So I've been hearing that rebuttal out there, and I'm just like, that no. Now, I also wanted to ask you about the recruiting impact, in terms of, all the decommits, because I think we've had 7 total in this class.
Yeah.
And obviously the more recent ones are like a Van Fillinger, a Ty Jordan, a Quentin Johnston. What are your thoughts on just all those guys and how it impacts the momentum, of the guys coming in and things of that nature?
So, I was really upset with Van and also Quentin. I think Van, the scouting report on him is he's just physical at the point of attack, and he's already physically ready for the next level. Johnson was he was just a freak athlete. I mean, we were talking about this as he won the dunk contest, and I think I've seen clips of Demis just walking up and doing between the leg dunks. So I mean, he beat him in a dunk contest. So and you just can't replicate talent like that. Someone who's that athletic and that big too. So those really hurt. I think our running back room is going to be a little bit crowded, where I don't think your boy Ty would kind of break the starting lineup until maybe his second or third season.
So I never looked at here, and so me and you kind of went back and forth on text message the other day about Ty Jordan.
Yeah.
I never thought Ty Jordan was going to be a starter. Mm-hmm. My whole thing with Ty Jordan was he was the perfect running back to complement what you have. Like, you don't have a guy like him. I understand in terms of the Swiss Army knife dynamic, a healthy Jordan Whittington can do some of those things.
Healthy is the key word.
Healthy,
yeah,
right?
Is the key word.
Right, and he just had surgery up in New York, I believe. But with Ty Jordan, he brought along with his size and his skill set a very unique set that we haven't had at Texas in a while, and we haven't had at Texas utilized properly since I can remember. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look at a guy like that, you look at this brother right now on the Eagles, Boston Scott, who's like 5'6" or 5'7", and you see him run, and you see the way the Philadelphia Eagles utilize him on screen passes, and he kind of hides behind the line. Like, you can't teach that type of stuff, right? It's really frustrating. That's a guy that could have helped us on special teams. Somebody was hitting me up on here about special teams, right? And our return game we housed a kickoff against Rice, and we housed one last year against K-State, and then Reggie Hemphill Maps house one against Maryland. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Right? But we're not getting – our one good return this year was Brandon Jones. That one punt return that we sold our souls for, and the K-State guy housed the kickoff the very next – you know what I mean? Like, it's somebody brought up the Tariq Cohen type of thing. Like, Tariq Cohen's not necessarily their starting running back where they're handing the ball off, but he's a weapon. He's a weapon, and I think that was a unique weapon that we could have had. I mean, these little twitchy, smaller guys, we just continue to miss on them. Rondell Moore was at one time committed, who, obviously he's done what he's done at Purdue. His
Waddell.
It's just we keep missing the boat on guys like that. I mean, we seem to get the big guys on board until Johnston, you know. And I'm curious to see whoever the new coordinator is, and whether we get some different position coaches, how they utilize guys like Malcolm Epps. We have to do a better job of taking advantage of our unique pieces. People that aren't your prototypical running back or your prototypical wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have a 6'8" freaking basketball player on your team, and somebody needs to
box him out.
Right.
Somebody teach him how to box out.
Somebody needs to develop that guy, you know?
But at the same time, I'm a huge Ellinger fan. He needs to develop that perfect touch. He needs to be that person who develops that chemistry with them as well and know where they like the ball and be able to put it there. That was his biggest knock, is that his inaccuracies in those big games were not. It wasn't good, man. So some of them weren't good.
I will say this. The only knock on Duvernay this year is that he didn't feel the need on special teams. Well, they took him off. I mean, there's not much more I could have asked from Devin Duvernay. I know
catches a game.
I know he had his struggles in the Oklahoma game with the kickoff stuff, but he was just trying to, make plays. But that's a good point, Michael Fordo. Let's see here, guys. I want to appreciate everybody that's in here. Make sure y'all hitting the like. Make sure you're getting your bottle of Boss's Ranch HEB cold produce. We love these guys. They got a new commercial that dropped yesterday with some more of the caveman ads. So go check them out on all social media, Facebook, IG, all that. Let's see. Going back to the OC stuff, who at this point should we be targeting for offensive coordinator? I'll ask you, and I'm asking the group. Who should we be targeting? Because I made the video yesterday of, like, just off the top of my head, those 5 people I gave were more, of my personal wish list and liking. But realistically, who should we be targeting based upon where Tom Herman's headspace is? So when
you actually just posed that question, you actually brought something to my attention. What's the Rams coach's name? What's the Rams coach's name?
Sean McVay.
Yeah, Sean McVay. You told me that Sean McVay went into the interview and said, "Hey, you don't need to draft another quarterback. Here's what I could do with Jared Goff. Mm-hmm. We need a coordinator to come in and do that with Ellinger and say, hey, my assistant coaches for the wide receivers, this is what I'm going to do for them." The offensive line coach, I think Herman's is. I think Herman.
Yeah, I hope we keep him.
So if they keep him, they're going to understand how to diagnose stunts that defensive line had. That's what we're going to focus on, things like that, and learn how to communicate better with each other. Our tight ends are not going to just be there for blocking. If we put them out for a 5-wide set, they're going to be a threat. It's not
yeah.
So put up that window dressing. So anyone who will actually tell him a full plan on what he could do, but hey, we could still utilize your scheme. I mean, I think, and he actually has a history of being able to get production out of that. I think that's the hire that you got to look for. Will he do that? I don't think so.
That's why I said Major Applewhite at the beginning of this, and I didn't think of Major Applewhite last night, but who he is currently an analyst at Alabama, and Tom's just going to want somebody that knows his offense is going to come in here. And now there's other people that know power spread the way that Tom does it. I mean, again, going back to the Ohio State coaching tree and the Urban Meyer coaching tree and guys that have run offense out of it, there's a lot of folks that can help with it. But I just like the idea of getting other folks, picking their brains and getting their minds and whatnot. Eric Bieniemy is going to be an NFL head coach. I don't think he'll come here as a coordinator. Chip Long, I believe that was the OC that was recently let go from Notre Dame. My thing with Chip Long is they got into a bit of struggle with power with Brian Kelly. Tom Herman is not overtly an asshole the way Brian Kelly is. I will admit that. But there could be that push and pull. Because Tim Beck's going to be sitting
Could
there.
or would.
Tim Beck's going to be like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I had to deal with. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now, granted, Tim Beck, we always said that I just need to know what Tom wants to do. Does Tom want to be the guy as the primary play caller, and he just wants somebody to help script things, or is he looking for somebody to call plays? Is he looking for somebody to take the reins? I'm just curious. Kurt, I appreciate that, man. I'm definitely not, man. I'm learning and trying to get better at this YouTube stuff, and Tran and I are working together on that.
Zach Robinson.
I remember him from Oklahoma. Where's he at now? Rams QB coach?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, and there's some names. Somebody mentioned Mike Kafka earlier.
There's no way we'll get
Jeff Scott went to hey, catch the wave. I appreciate it, brother. $20, man. Thank you. You guys, really, really appreciate it. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm trying to wrap my mind around.
I'm laughing at sports guru.
Oh boy, have the gifts been coming up on YouTube? I had a little McConaughey thing.
I'm seeing something.
Oh, okay. I wanted to have some gifts on here for
Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, man, where I feel as though Kellen Moore, man, don't get me started on the Cowboys. I do want Kellen Moore to work out. I like the way he's developing as a coordinator. He's learning on the job, but pay up for Joe Brady. Joe Brady's not coming here, guys.
Yeah.
We need to be real. That's, to me, I don't think that's realistic. Also, that's a risk. The Joe Brady, he doesn't call plays. He's never recruited. There's so many, like, that would be so much more on his plate that, like, at LSU, he's been able to be there, be like the creative guru, and then Coach O and all those guys can ease him into everything else. I'm sure he's, and I mean, just coming from the New Orleans Saints and that whole rapport, I don't know. I don't think so. I like Mike LaFleur. I like anybody from Kyle Shanahan's offense. Mm-hmm. I'm just
Kyle Shanahan. How about that? Just pay him more than Tom Herman. Let Tom Herman keep that coach out.
Drew, I don't know what's going. I'm still learning the software, brother. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why his showed up in your. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I mean. So, let's see. Eric Mangini. We're gonna go for about 15 more minutes, guys. I'm gonna have this at an hour here today.
I like Kyle too. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan would be nice.
Rhett Lashley, SMU offensive coordinator. We had some conversations about him. Things didn't work out for him at Auburn. Coming from working with Gus Malzahn, another person who likes control. Mm-hmm. And granted, Sonny Dykes is an offensive guy too, but I think he's kind of let Rhett Lashley do his thing in Dallas. I don't know. Gabe G, I said Brian Hartline last night. I really like him. I'm a big Brian Hartline fan. Mike Leach is not going to be an OC. Knock it off.
Yeah, he won't.
We're not a sinking ship. I'm saying that as total fanboy right now. Scott Turner, is that North's son? Matthew, is that North Turner's son? Daniel, I think you're right. I know you're OU guy, but I think you're right. I think Tom. That's what I'm starting to suspect. I think Tom wants to kind of do what Lincoln does and just have full reigns. I think that's a valid point.
It's depressing. I'm sorry.
We have somebody here from Germany, Bastian. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Danke.
Mark Helfrich is interesting. We did try to bring him
Yeah.
in. We did try to bring him in as an analyst.
Said that.
And he elected to go to the Chicago Bears. They could definitely go in another direction. They haven't been seeing the development from Mitchell Trubisky in the offense.
Except against the Cowboys.
Well, yeah.
He's
yeah.
a stud against the Cowboys.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Mitchell Trubisky is, running over us left and right like he's Steve Young. It's ridiculous. By the next coach. Yeah, okay. I appreciate it, Matthew. Thank you. Drew, I'm going to let you answer the question. I'm going to figure out what's going on with the chat real quick. Drew's question was, objectively, what do we think this program will look like next year? I think right now, just answer the question from knowing what personnel we have, offensively and defensively.
So defensively, I think we have the ability to be special, honestly. If he really does shore up all those deficiencies that we had this year, and we keep the health, keep a good healthy line. Our offense is there. The only thing that we're missing is a huge Devin Duvernay. We really haven't played with Colin this whole year.
No.
So that's not really that as big of a loss as it seems to be. So if Ellinger takes that second step where he's throwing people open as opposed to hitting people who are wide open, I think the offense can be good if we get the right person there, or if Tom turns back the clock to his OSU days.
OSU, yeah.
And makes us a powerhouse because the infrastructure's there, right there. We have special athletes at every single position. The only thing I am a little bit worried about is our punting situation, because he really hasn't taken that step. Bushevsky really hasn't taken that second step. I mean,
yeah, and the other guys entered the portal.
Yeah.
He walked on senior day. Chris Nagar, he entered the portal. So, special teams is just a concern. So there's some other things I had notes wise that we haven't talked about, just in terms of things that need to improve. We've got to take a look at the penalties. The penalties. Did you know we finished 119th in penalties per game?
It's fantastic.
And we finished 121 in penalty yards.
So it's not just like false starts too. So it's big holding penalties.
We had holding penalties. We had personal foul penalties. And look, everybody beat up Charlie Strong about that, about being undisciplined and those type of things. I have not seen that cleaned up since Tom Herman has been here.
Nope.
And when you're 100, there's only 130 teams. And you're 119, 121. Are you kidding me? We're averaging over 71 penalty yards per game.
Almost giving a touchdown a game.
Yeah.
Just penalty
yards. In terms of just penalty yards. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that stat. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been on NCAA.com just going through. Let me see. Here's that. Sorry, guys. One sec. Nice.
Is it echoing now?
How's it sound? No more echo?
No, well, they're on a delay. When we're on mute.
Yeah. Y'all let us know if it's no more anything. Y'all are hilarious. Somebody said it's still echoing. I don't know what's going on.
Is it reading your computer mic too?
I hope not.
Is it better? Hey. Echo. Sounds like firecrackers. She's snapping into it, that's why.
Alright, I think I muted everything else. Alright. Well, I appreciate it. It's gone. I think something happened in it. One of the other boxes. Yeah. All right. Cool. So, what else we want to talk about? Sorry about the hiccup there with the echo.
I think we're seeing where we're going to be at this time.
Oh
this year.
yeah. So this time next year, I expect Chris Ash to have a very, very good because the biggest things he has to correct, right? Playing the ball, DBs. He's a secondary guy. Let's get that.
That's why Tom Maroon fired Todd Orlando. Specifically, the reason he gave.
Hey, are we gonna, are we gonna improve technique? He's gonna incorporate the rugby style tackling and some of the things he teaches. He has some classes up on YouTube.
Physical attitude too.
He has some classes up on YouTube that I'm gonna look into. That I wanna check out, where he's talking about some football concepts. Chris Ash, that is. So I'm actually gonna go check that out because I want to learn more about him. But in terms of next year, all those names I listed earlier, guys, I went through the group because I really am making the argument right now. See, the reason why I know you and others may think that the other coordinators had more talented groups is because you ended up seeing the finished product. You ended up seeing Manny Acho have 120 tackles. You ended up seeing Jordan Hicks become a star. Michael Thompson finally figuring it out. Like all those guys, right? Malcolm Brown having the season he had. These guys, we haven't seen the finished product of them yet. So right now we're looking at them as like, they're all half-baked. But Chris Ash, just off of the starts and the experience they have, he's got a head start. On top of that, he was here last year. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So he already knows. Yeah, he already knows strength and weaknesses. Yeah. You don't think he's been keeping an internal audit on everybody? So I think it's going to be very, very interesting from a defensive standpoint. I expect them to be very, very good. And there's no excuses because even injuries, like they have depth. And we haven't even mentioned anybody from the 2020 class.
Yeah. No.
Right?
And not only that, another difference that he has over two of those coordinators is that these teams have won. These kids have won. They know what it's like to win. And they know how to win big games.
Yeah, too, they did win last year. A lot of these guys, they did win 10 games last year. They could go off and win a bowl game. We'll see what type of I think the bowl game is going to be big for me, and I think we can start transitioning there too, guys. What positions or what players are you looking at in particular against Utah? I haven't prepped for Utah, but I can tell you right now I'm looking at those linebackers.
Yeah, I'm looking at the linebackers, so I think that they may control our offensive line. The thing I'm looking at is their secondary that's not going to be playing. I mean, I think our wide receivers are the strength of our team, honestly. And with Colin Johnson coming back, we've talked about this, that Colin makes our team whole. And no one can just focus in on Devin Duvernay. completely. Now you have Colin on the outside, and it frees up things for Brendan Eagles. I mean, Brendan Eagles was having a great first part of the year because everyone was focused on Colin and Devin. So I mean, he was kind of the missing piece for our offense during that time we actually needed him for that Baylor game, for that Iowa State game. He would have been huge for us.
Yep, the brother Blackman's out, and the other guy's out. Yeah. Look, guys. I mean, when you have an opponent an adversary like Oklahoma, and they've won 5 straight Big 12 titles, and they continue to go to the playoffs, they keep the party going no matter who's there. That's part of the angst of Texas fans. You know, we all see what's going on in Norman, and we want that for our program, right? We want to compete at that level because in the past, when we've been at that level, at least we've made it to the national championship. But there's been no consistency in our program, and when we see and hear mixed messages, everybody's just so on the edge to win, right? And on the edge to be consistent. I don't want to do the 7-5, and I know we were once 5-7 and all that, but that was just nonsense going on. But even now, going back to 8-5 or 7-6, or that's you get too much to work with here. You do. You get too much to work with from a resource standpoint, from a fan, from the culture standpoint, from the players. And now we're going into year 4 of Sam Ellinger. How's that last chapter going to be written for him?
I don't know. That also, some of the responsibility falls on his shoulders right there too. I know it's a lot of responsibility to take for a 21-year-old kid, but that's why he came to Texas.
Yeah. But we got to help him out though. We got to help him out. Let's see.
I do want to call out someone who was talking about Derek Stingley. Absolute phenomenal player. Was robbed. 100% robbed for freshman of the year in the SEC. And he was actually he was the best defensive back that LSU had on their team. Grant Delpit did not deserve the Thorpe Award.
Yeah.
So, and that's my favorite award. You know that. So.
I don't know what's going on with some of these awards anymore, man. I mean, the fact that Devin Duvernay gets no recognition for his efforts outside of his conference. Then you see guys like Derek Stingley in the politics that are going on. Derek Stingley didn't even win SEC Freshman of the Year. Y'all giving that to Bo Nix? Are you kidding me? Did you watch football?
They put this freshman on an island on everyone he played.
It's ridiculous, man. Some of these awards, dude. And then they made him second team all conference. I'm like, it's politics though, because I don't know if it's like they don't want to give the young brother everything at once, but it's just like when you got it, you got it. That's how I roll.
Yeah.
Right. When you got it, you got it. And so, I don't know, the Grant Delpit thing.
We'd watch games and we just text back and forth, and we just say, "Wow, that's a special player. Like he's that good." And it's amazing that he's just a freshman now because he's just going to get better.
OU most likely will go to Spencer Rattler. Some of the OU guys that are here, please chime in. Damn, we got 207 people in here. What's good? Make sure y'all smash that like button for us. CD versus Stingley is definitely.
Oh, yes, it is. I cannot wait for that matchup. I hope he shadows him everywhere. So you know how they put the
orbit motion.
Orbit motion. I hope he follows him. I'm excited about that.
That's gonna be high level football right there.
Yeah,
CD strong.
Own Colin Johnson. I agree.
I think Spencer Rattler's gonna take over for OU. Donovan, it is must see TV. We were talking about Chip Long earlier. I'm curious with him if he'll be allowed, because he does run a similar scheme to what Tom Herman wants to do, but I'm curious with his previous relationship with BK And the back and forth there, if there's going to be more of that, or if he's going to want to go somewhere where he has complete control and say over the offense, that's my concern.
Is CD 100% healthy? I mean, he has basically a month to get prepped.
Yeah, and
So.
to me, CD looked fine in the. I mean, he had that big ass play in the Baylor game, that catch and run in the first quarter, which was really really impressive.
But he didn't look like he had the breakaway speed on that run, though. It looked like someone was going to catch him. Yeah.
Sure.
So.
But he'll.
It's a hamstring, right? Or is it an ankle?
Is it? What I just remember it being a leg. Somebody chime in what CD's injury is. Is it hamstring or ankle? Jake Smith equals Jordan Shipley. I hope so.
He had a couple really big drops. He's in his own head right now too.
Simmons, my guy. I love you. Devin Duvernay, I would have loved to see him get recognized, but Jamar Chase did deserve the Biletnikoff, in my opinion. He was cold. He was cold. If you wanted to give it to CeeDee Lamb, the thing is CeeDee didn't have Chase's numbers. Chase led the country in receiving yards. He had like 20 touchdowns or something like that, receiving or something crazy. But Jamar Chase, and you saw what he did against us. Everybody they played, he was the marked man. The corners he lit up on Alabama, hamstring, appreciate it. The corners he lit up on Alabama, he was just flat out impressive. So to me, Jamar Chase deserved the award. You can make the argument that CeeDee Lamb is the best wide receiver in the country. I won't fight you on that. But Devin Duvernay deserves some sort of recognition, at least being a semifinalist or something. Yeah. I mean, he did lead the country in receptions, and it wasn't just like at the beginning of the year, and maybe they docked him.
Reception rate is amazing too.
They were also at the beginning of the year, people were knocking him for like, oh, you're catching bubble screens and you're only averaging 9 or 10 yards per catch, but towards the end of the year, he started making some big plays, even the last game of the year.
Okay, so I want to put a kibosh to that, saying he did that against a LSU defense, an SEC defense. He lit them up, and one of them who was shadowing him was the Thorpe Award winner. Mm-hmm. I mean, he lit them up. He did. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah. Hold on, Daniel. I know you're OU guy, but can you give me an objective answer as to why Chase is better than CD? I'm just give me an objective answer. Again, like I said, I'm not going to fight you. I'm just curious as to what you're going to say. Why? Like, because somebody's saying, oh, CD Lamb had Joe Burrow. Well, CD Lamb had Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield the last couple of years. So, he's had some pretty good quarterbacks.
And a quarterback who's won a national championship, too.
Now they're going to come at me and tell, he had to share the ball with Hollywood Brown, too. Hey, shout out to Mark C. for subscribing. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't be surprised if OU beat him. I mean, I think LSU is a great team, but OU thrives in the position of people talking crap about them. Our fans were kind of talking like, oh, you guys have no defense, and then they come in and smack us in the face. Everyone was talking about Alabama that one Sugar Bowl year, and they came in and smacked Alabama in the face. When their back's against the walls, and they got a month to prep for this team. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they won. Do I think they're going to win? I don't think they're going to win, but the 10-point favorite, that was pretty high. I think that's pretty disrespectful.
Well, they've been disrespectful to all these Big 12 teams, OU included. People are just acting like, LSU it's gonna be like them versus A&M, in terms of the confidence. And I keep telling folks, Lincoln Riley with the whole month and of that whole team hearing all that. And look, Jalen Hurts has been inconsistent recently. He's not playing as well as he did at the beginning of the season, but the competition went up. However, he's a big game guy. He's been in many, many of these games, and they have a running game. And we've seen LSU's defense. Granted, LSU's defense is playing a lot better recently, but they have been susceptible to quarterback run.
Yeah.
You look at what that guy on Ole Miss did. He ran all over the damn place. for almost over 200 something yards on them. So they have a case.
And I think he's only one of 3 active quarterbacks that have won a playoff game. Is that correct? I think he's one of 3 active quarterbacks that have won a playoff game.
Yeah, him, Trevor
Tua,
Lawrence, and Tua. Yeah.
So I mean, he has that experience.
My man said I'd take T. Higgins and Judy over everybody. That's funny. Jerry Judy's cold too, but
I'd take Waddell over him.
I mean, he's the 4th guy.
Yeah, I'd take Waddell. I think he's
all those guys might be first round picks because Henry Ruggs. They got him. Mock drafts have Henry Ruggs going in the first round too. It's crazy how much talent is that wide receiver. This draft coming up for wide receiver is going to be insane. And Chase is not even going to be in it because Chase is a true sophomore. Mm-hmm. So I think Justin Jefferson will leave.
How did Hurts finish second in Heisman voting? That's a good question. It didn't matter really. like they're just like, oh, he's a super senior. Let's go ahead and just give him that honor, right? That's what it sounds like. It's like he was a super senior,
and he didn't win Big 12 Player of the Year. It was Chuba, right?
Chuba should have.
I think Chuba won Big 12. I don't even think Jalen Hurts won Big 12 Player of the Year. He did finish second, so he can forever say that.
Do they still give former Heisman's chance to vote? Mm-hmm. They get a vote on it. Mm-hmm. So Oklahoma has a shit ton of Heisman voters. So most likely they voted for him.
I want to see ballots because there were people that voted Joe Burrow third.
I can see second. But...
Identify yourself. Really? What were you watching? I think Chase Young would have been second if he didn't get suspended. I think some voters, especially those old ass, who I'm talking about, type of voters, probably were like, hey, they probably didn't even have him on the ballot after he got, you know what I'm talking about.
Why are you getting that raspy voice?
Oh man, they probably left. They left that brother smooth off, man. Smooth off.
Yeah, like that.
Man, I appreciate everybody that's been in here and smashing the like button and this has been a real fun conversation with y'all. Anything else we need to discuss? I guess we'll go to the 1:15 mark here. I said 1 hour, but it's been fun. We got 224 people in here. That's awesome. Appreciate everybody joining in. What grade level is Brennan Eagles? Brennan Eagles is currently a sophomore.
A true sophomore, right?
Yes, he's a true sophomore. There was something else I wanted to talk about. And that's the thing too is pay attention to how these teams are coached in some of these bowl games and especially the playoffs, and we can identify how far away or how close we think we are, right? Because we all believe with the right staff and the right people to cultivate things, we can get to where we want to be. I truly believe that.
I do too. Like we said, we have the infrastructure here for a complete team. Yeah, so.
And that was just defense that I named. I mean, you look at offensively. I know we're losing Devin Duvernay. I know we're losing Colin Johnson.
K. Brewer.
Well, K. Brewer is only a sophomore or junior.
I mean,
coming
back from a knee injury like that, it's usually 18 months to actually being really productive.
Well, they got a lot of time to get some of these other tight ends up to speed. We saw Jarrett Wiley play a little bit more. Reese Laytow, hopefully Braden Liebrock will be ready to go. Mm-hmm. And I'm still on board with
moving Daniel Young.
I would like to see Daniel Young play like H-back.
Yeah.
And maybe bulk him up a little bit. But I was talking about...
He's 240 pounds.
Malcolm Epps. Yeah, you can use Daniel Young there. I mean, because we miss that type of guy where he can line up, 3-point stance and go and fire off the ball.
Epps is not Colin Johnson.
No, I think, and that was where I was getting to. I think Malcolm Epps can be more of a Jermichael Finley, though.
Move him over to like a
Yeah.
hybrid.
Now he's got to get that. That's something that coaches can't put in him is that physical nature.
Rage Cactus, Marcus Washington is not slept on by us.
I love Marcus Washington.
We think he is a quick twitch type of guy that if we get the ball in his hand,
and he's a taller guy too, and he has great athleticism. I think we'll see plenty of number 15. I think you'll see Marcus Washington in the bowl game. So I'm very excited for his development. Sure. Even guys like a Kennedy Lewis, who we only really saw in the Rice game. Mm-hmm. But you
caught that pass and
turned upfield for 37 yards. Yeah, I'm excited.
So I did see a lot more from Epps towards the end of the season. I saw him be a little bit more physical, and I'm hoping that light switch is starting to click on for him. That hey, we need him to be that type of wide receiver, complete like possession wide receiver for us.
To be fair to Malcolm Epps, everybody, he did finish the season strong in my opinion.
He did. That's what I said.
He did. And Sam trusts him. Mm-hmm. Sam keeps throwing the ball. So that tells me that...
I think he trusts the catch radius. That's the thing. He's like, he knows, I'm either throwing it away or...
You need to go get
use
this.
His God-given length to catch this. I mean, we have a good team around us.
Most of you're going to lose Zach Shackelford. I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now.
Didn't have a great season.
No, but even though that's another political thing because he finished first team center. Yeah, he wasn't better than Creed Humphrey, and I'm a Texas fan.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't better than Dawson from Tech, and I'm a Texas fan. I think
we get Cosme back, which is huge.
Cosme being back is huge for sure. Kerstetter I imagine Kerstetter probably gets the first crack at center. We probably move him over. Junior Angulau to me, he had a good season.
Mm-hmm. And he's young. Mm-hmm. He's still a sophomore.
Mm-hmm. He'll be a sophomore.
He'll be a junior.
Is he a red shirt?
He'll be a red shirt sophomore, a junior.
It's his third year in the program. I get people's classes messed up now with the 4-game thing now.
Yeah.
It's just like, did that guy play 4 games last year? Is he still a sophomore or whatever? Like... So Kieran, I agree about the speed thing, but that's one of the things where we're talking about, like, missing out on guys like Mookie Cooper, missing out on guys like Rondell Moore. You brought up Jalen Waddle. Like, where are those quick twitch, get out of here type guys?
One cut, gone types of guys.
Absolutely. And progression, thank you. Really appreciate it.
I think Colin kind of lacks physicality still now, but I mean he does when he's tasked to block, he does hold his blocks. I do give him that, but I still think he's not physically.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm laughing at Michael Fordham. He said he's excited to see Braun move on. Look, we did. Somebody made me said I needed to apologize to Parker Braun for saying what I said about him for leaving the game because there was
why?
Well, because the coaches the perception was I thought he like quit on the team. It was just like
that's the way it looked like.
It looked like it, but apparently they were also confused and somebody told him to go. At least that was the story I got.
Okay, well, I mean, if that's the case, but it looked like because when he walked out, he didn't say anything to any of the coaches. He just kept walking.
Yeah, I mean, he was pissed off. Something was going on that game at the end of that game because remember Kerstetter went off too. Mm-hmm.
Any idea about Joshua Moore? That's a good question.
Joshua Moore. See, I think it's going to go one of two ways. I think he gives it another crack because, to be honest with you, I would love to see him push Jake Smith at the H. I don't think you can just hand Jake Smith
the keys.
No, you can't. Make him earn it. And Joshua Moore is a guy who I thought would have probably, if he had been there, maybe they don't move Devin Duvernay over. Now, granted, it ended up being a home run move, but that was kind of their guy they were molding after little Jordan Humphrey before he got the shoulder injury. Because he played a lot in that USC game and made plays. Mm-hmm. So I'm just really interested to see, either he hits the portal and starts anew at a JUCO or something, And it'd be sad because that reminds me of what happened to Reggie Hemphill Maps. And some of those brothers, we never see him again. Now? I have no idea where Reggie Hemphill... Does anybody know where Reggie Hemphill Maps is? I have no idea.
Go to that?
I heard he went JUCO. Is he at a D1 school?
Sam Houston? No, like that's where they usually take up ball are.
I have no idea. Yo, Rage Cactus said... he said Drew Manager planted a gun on Joshua. I can't. Lord Jesus.
That's fantastic. I like it.
Come on, bro. Man.
UTEP. He's on UTEP.
UTEP?
Apparently.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I just haven't heard from the brothers, so I was concerned. Oh, yours is quicker than mine. Let me stay on this one. Yeah, Reggie Hemphill Maps. That was actually our first H guy before Lil Jordan Humphrey. Did somebody ask where Todd Orlando's going? Because I heard Syracuse is in play. I saw Syracuse. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I saw Syracuse there because I've heard about possible landing spots for Todd Orlando. And he may take the year off. I don't know where he goes. He's a guy I will always root for, though. I just liked him. Tonell Carter, he went to Sam Houston State.
So did Derek Roberson.
Hold on, who's at UTEP? Because somebody else is saying Reggie went to Trinity and then transferred to Syracuse. So is he at Syracuse or UTEP? He's at Syracuse. Okay. So then who's at UTEP? Did we just get some bad information?
I don't know. It's one of the good. What we can just do real quick.
That's funny. Drew Adu said, I think Big 12 is disrespected because Texas is not competitive. The Big 12 gets more respect when Texas is competitive.
It does say Trinity Valley Community College right here.
I think there's some validity to that. Yeah, Kyle Loxley. There you go. Kyle Loxley went to UTEP. Yeah. And he's still playing quarterback.
He in trouble?
He did get in trouble.
Yeah.
He did get in trouble there, but he's still on the team. I like Kai because Kai's from DC Maryland. Area. Yeah, DC area, and Kai's a good kid. He just got caught up. Rich Rodriguez will be at home. What's Rich Rod up to these days? I don't do anything but play Call of Duty all day. Y'all hilarious. Mark Vasquez. I think we were talking about earlier. I think we should consider Daniel Young as an H-back type role. Those of you who were against the Graham Harrell hire because of the run game type stuff. Some of y'all acted like we've had an elite run game here at Texas the last few years. That has not been the case. I think we finished like 54th last year. I don't know where we finished this year. We were effective when we committed to it, no doubt about it. But we haven't put up those gaudy numbers really since Foreman, right? That last year under Sterling. Mm-hmm. Sterling Gilbert.
You also gave him the ball like 36 times a game. Legitimately.
Sterling Gilbert tearing it up at McNeese State. They went 7-5 this year, Tran. First year as head coach.
Good for him.
Also, another
Jeff Traylor, baby. I knew where you were going with that. I wish we kept him. And I think they got Roderick.
They got Rod White. Rod Wright.
Yeah, Rod Wright.
They got his brother from Tech, Traylor's brother. I don't know what that guy's his first name is, but they got him from Tech. He's putting together a little crew down there in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. UTSA, baby. Jeff Traylor, congratulations.
I really wish.
What are they? The Road Runners?
Yeah.
UTSA Road Runners. That was a great hire for them. I really like Jeff Traylor. It just seems like a perfect, good first head coaching spot for him.
And when this was announced, a lot of coaches applauded this hire, like high school coaches, because he came from the high school world, from East Texas, and his name carries a lot of weight here in Texas, which would be good for UTSA.
Simmons, I think Osai's gonna play linebacker. That's my guess. I think Chris Ash is gonna look at the tape. He's gonna look at what Osai did. He's gonna say, "Look, I gotta use him as an outside linebacker, and allow him to rush on passing downs." And he may have. I think they'll move around. He may have his hand in the dirt. I think he will use him the way we probably should have used Malik Jefferson a little bit more. You remember that OU game when we did make Malik put his hand in the dirt and he messed up Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
So who are your 4 down linemen? Starting 4 down linemen next year.
Coburn,
100%.
I think you'll bulk up Taquan Graham and use him as a 3-tech. And then Ajomo's going to be somewhere in the rotation. Well, Ajomo was already kind of playing outside a little bit.
Did you say Graham?
Graham. I said Graham on the inside. I think you got to the way
Bimage,
the way he was rushing
on the outside.
Yeah, that last game. But you need a speed rusher. Yeah. And that's the debate about Joseph Osai.
So then your 3 linebackers. Are you keeping Overshown, middle, Adai?
Middle is going to be Adai or Juwan Mitchell.
I like Adai so much better, honestly.
He's got to develop.
I think
Mitchell's issue is coverage.
And
he can blitz though.
In a traditional 4-3, he doesn't. He really will just cover the middle. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really have to cover that much. But I do like Osai and Overshown as our 2 linebackers. The outside, don't you?
If Overshown is there now, if we're talking about a 4-2-5, yes. Where he's like more of a joker, because I think that's what you can't play a true 4-3 in this conference.
No, it's true.
But he
has enough speed that we can drop him into coverage.
But this is the thing with Chris Ash, and I think this is what his big initial test will be. I understand simplifying things. I understand the need to focus on the fundamentals and the technique. This is the Big 12, though. Mm-hmm. You got to have stuff in your bag. And Todd Orlando knew that. He just was a mad scientist about it and did it too much. You got to be multiple in this conference. When you're facing Kansas State, yeah, you can live in your 4-3. Mm-hmm. You can live in your base. When you're playing Tech,
you have to have multiple.
You have to have multiple. I mean, just period. It is what you got to throw out different things, different looks. All we're asking though is that your blitzes and your coverages are married together. Mm-hmm. You're not playing the corners 8 yards off, but you're blitzing people, from New Jersey, right? So I think as a fan base, if we can marry those two, and he can show some level of creativity being multiple, because I'll tell you this, I don't care how fast we play. If it's a simple scheme where people just come in and they're like, hey, they're good and they're technical, but
what's Nathan's issue with the Overshown?
He said a strong safety.
Oh, I thought it said ass. I was like, what? I was like, what's his issue with that?
It's late. It's late. No, he said
I was like, what?
He said a strong safety, bro.
Okay. I was like, what? he balled out.
Yeah, I think your starting safeties are going to be. I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, are you going to have Overshown playing strong safety? You're going to have B.J. Foster playing strong safety? Because theoretically, your free is probably going to be Caden Stearns. But that's the thing. There's people here. We can figure all that out. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about that. Chris Brown will factor in.
Josh Thompson's coming back too.
Yeah.
So
my thing is, you have to be multiple in this conference, though.
Yeah.
You cannot come out here. I don't care if everybody knows their assignments and all that.
You
will get shredded. You will get shredded coming out. Look at OU, right? Like Alex Grinch has the a 4-2-5, 4-3 type of look. My thing with Alex Grinch though is he is very aggressive still. They will come up and they will walk Kenneth Murray and those linebackers into the A gap, mm-hmm. and they're like, we're coming and we're playing press, right? Like we're not gonna, but we'll also show a look we'll blaze out of it, right? And do. I was gonna bring up the Manny Diaz, the old school fire zone blitzes that I'm sure give some people some nightmares that he used to do with Kenny Vaccaro. But there's some creative things that Alex Grinch does very aggressively. From what I've heard about Chris Ash's, he's not that same level of aggressive. It's more of like with the Cowboys, bend, don't break, keep things in front of you. We're going to be sound. We're not going to beat ourselves, right? So we're not going to be out of position because we're kind of conservative and protecting people with the quarters. So we'll see.
Do you think Chris Ash replaces a ton of assistant coaches, position coaches?
I think Jason Washington is in trouble. I think Craig Naivar is probably in trouble because that's his forte. He may say out because remember Todd Orlando coached backers. So, but that's the other thing I'm going to ask you. How many defensive coaches would you like to see on the staff? Because I think we were 7-4.
I want one for every
when I say
single
7-4,
position.
I'm saying 7 off. We had 7 offense and I think 4 defense. And Craig Naivar was also responsible for special teams, if I'm not mistaken. I'd like to see a little bit more balance.
So
there.
What's the rule? I mean,
I think it's 11.
There's a total of 11. So I would like to see a balance with a specific. I would like to see 5-5 and then 1 for special teams. Legit focus on.
Most schools don't do that.
I know, but you saw how important it was for us. Our special teams was awful. Like we look like we're a high school team playing against college kids and at special teams. Honestly,
It is. Yeah.
and you could legitimately have a guy who runs all the defensive backs. You don't need a safeties and a corner, especially if you're gonna do a little bit of press coverage, press zone too. Like so, if you guard them at the line but then pop back, and I think that's what Ohio State does quite a bit. Then you have yourself a linebackers coach, a D-line coach, and then someone who actually oversees it all, which is the D coordinator too. That makes 5, and you could do the same.
Oh,
thing.
Wareheim with special teams. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So special teams is going to
You
change.
should be fired, Wareheim.
Blake Gideon, he just went somewhere from Houston. Where did he go?
He went to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Hey, Lane Kiffin putting a little staff together over there.
He is, man. Who got Chad Morse? It was Auburn, right?
You notice how those schools didn't hesitate?
No. They pulled the trigger. It's like, this guy is an offensive coordinator. We know he can produce.
Well, I mean, it's funny how we can be so picky here at Texas, but Chad Morris was good enough for Auburn. I'm just saying.
Auburn, who had a pretty good offense last year. Not terrible.
Strength and conditioning, we haven't talked about that. I think I want to end there because we have 279 people in here. What's going on? I don't know what the likes are looking like, but please help us out with the likes.
88.
Anything's welcome. Donations included. So, with where am I going here? I wanted to talk about strength and conditioning, and I want to ask you this in particular because you've been, obviously, as a college athlete, you and your brother, both football players at the collegiate level. What are you seeing from, because it is a valid question at this point with Yancey McKnight. Just give me your overall thoughts and mindset about the strength and conditioning situation.
So, Yancey McKnight is from the old school, where my brother was from the old school too, where Mad Dog walked in, legitimately put his hand in between the 90s and the 80s and said, from the right side, the 90s, no, that's what the football players use. They can't use anything on this. And it was just all about brute strength. And I think that's kind of the same way that Yancey McKnight is. Like I see a lot of personal best 1 rep max, but it's something that has to be periodized. It has to be something that builds you up to that point. You have to have a little bit of the actual burnout where you hit that lactic acid, where you have to fight through that, and that helps you more so for that little 2-second burst that you need, that extra 2-second burst. So you get a lot from a guy like Yancey McKnight, but I think he just needs to be a little bit more versatile. I think,
especially with the smaller guys.
Mm-hmm. So
because our big people didn't get hurt.
But by versatile, I mean like even Mad Dog, like he thought it was just like Bruce Drake. Like I said, one of the guys, one of the person says, "Hey, I want you to meet this jiu-jitsu guy," and he saw this little guy, and he goes, "Really, we're really gonna have our defensive backs look at this jiu-jitsu guy?" And he called him up as an example, and he took Mad Dog to the floor. And then after that, he kind of shook his head and gave him the little thumbs up. All right, he can teach them how to hand fight with people, things like that. You can't just say, oh, just because I'm lifting 700-pound squat, he's ready. He's ready. You know, you have to have it's way more different when you're actually a cross-trained athlete.
When did Coburn get hurt?
Yes, Jason played at UT.
I mean, when I talk about the rash of injuries, I'm talking about linebackers and DBs, and I'm not talking about because our offensive line, the only person on the offensive line that got hurt this year was Junior Angelau, from what I call. Yeah, people have their nicks and bruises. Zach Shackelford went down at one point. He always does. But like wide receiver, Colin, he's had his injury battles. Mm-hmm. But you look at like what was happening with the running backs before the season started. Then we lose all these defensive backs in the middle of the year, and I'm like, Malcolm Roach stayed healthy, all the bigger people. And
look at our offensive line. We were talking about that the last game. It's like it's pretty impressive that there wasn't a huge injury on our offensive line.
It's also disappointing that you only won 7 games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you get your offensive line to start that many games together, and you have other teams like a OU who were starting various combinations of people. Like Swinson on OU, he didn't even come in, and correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't even come in the Baylor game until like the second half. Like he was banged up. So like we weren't dealing with that, and we still had problems. So it's it's frustrating. And some of it could just be, freak stuff. Like we talked about, like the difference between like the soft tissue injuries and then like somebody else just getting, like Chris Brown broke his arm. You know what I mean?
You can't stop that. Like you get rolled up wrong, something pops.
In my opinion, to answer, he said, "Is beating Utah make it successful?" He said, "No,
it's a failure season."
Yeah, you said it before. Yeah. Pass fail on the season. Once we were eliminated from even making it back to the Big 12 championship game, this season was a failure.
We said it was Big 12 or bust. This season.
But with all that being said, Texas Tech to me was the beginning of our 2020 campaign. So I'm in 2020 now. Utah, I'm looking at that like from a 2020 perspective of, all right, Chris Ash, he's going to hit the ground running January. Him taking, a good look at everybody on the defense. Whoever our offensive coordinator, if they're named at that time, maybe within the next week, I don't know. But taking an audit of what we have offensively, especially the younger receivers that we talked about earlier, like a Marcus Washington, like a Malcolm Epps. Are we going to... Avante Woodard is another one who started getting more reps. Are we going to get Brendan Eagles to be that wide receiver 1 on the outside consistently every week? Because he's a guy that should be an NFL guy. And at other programs, and this is why CeeDee Lamb, I asked the question before, if CeeDee Lamb had come to Texas, would he still be a first-round pick? The answer is no. But we got to start making that answer yes. Brendan Eagles is a guy I'm looking at that has that physical skill set.
And this is everyone who's saying there should be a quarterback tryout. No. This
I don't know why.
This is the perfect season that we need a guy who's played 40-plus games. He should now be able to go through his progressions where he's not just eyeing down. If you throw a high school, college freshman into the Wolves like that, he's going to be a one-read quarterback.
And I understand Casey Thompson is a quicker twitch, faster athlete than Sam Ehlinger. Totally get it. I'd actually like to see Casey Thompson implemented at certain times. However, just because Sam Ehlinger is not, a 4 or 5 guy doesn't mean that, he's not the problem with this offense. No. He's not. And I know Jared's going to disagree with me and others will, that feel as though Sam has such severe limitations that we can't get to where we want to go. I've seen other guys win around this country. I don't think Sam has any more limitations than Jalen Hurts does. He's just in a better system with people that are executing around him. So when he has a poor game, he can pick it up. Sam Ehlinger had to be lights out every single week or else we weren't going to win. And that can't be the case next year. And that's also on the coaches, because you got to leverage your run game more. I don't know if Roshan Johnson's going to be in the quarterback room or the running back room next year. But you have a Bijan Robinson coming in. You're going to have a junior Keontae Ingram. You're going to have a Jordan Whittington there, hopefully healthy. That's as good at running backs as you can ask for. Mm-hmm. Use them.
Yeah, we got a stacked room next year. We go from a problem room to a very, very, very good problem to have, and that's one running back to cover all of it. I did like that question. Is Duvernay going in the draft before Colin? The draft is a weird thing, because all you have to do is you have to win over one team. And if some team is looking for a possession receiver in the red zone that maybe they were terrible in touchdown ratio in the red zone, and they're looking for that guy who they could throw it up to one-on-one, Colin's going to go over Devin on that one. But if a team like, let's say, the Patriots, which I hope he goes to a team like that is right there, they would probably drool over a Devin Duvernay type. So it just really all depends. If I were to say who's going to have a better NFL career, I'd say Devin, because the way the NFL is going is it's going more towards college offensive systems where they're trying to get the ball to their playmakers like that and let them be playmakers. And I also think his health, he's proven that he's a healthier player than Colin.
I agree with you all the way around. Devin Duvernay, health-wise, when you look at how quarterback friendly he'll be, he's a guy that'll go in there and pick up the playbook. He can play. He showed in college he can play outside, inside. He'll probably play inside in the league. And I've comped him to Golden Tate before, in terms of similar type of build. He's not. I don't think he's as tall as Golden Tate, but hands, the speed, the physicality over the middle. He turns into a running back when he gets the football. Doesn't drop anything. Can make the athletic catches. He can track the ball over his shoulder. We've seen a lot of NFL receivers, guys that are backups, have trouble with tracking the ball every Sunday, and it's a skill, right? Like Hollywood Brown, that was what he was really good at. He tracked the ball in the Ravens-Jets game really well the other day. Those are the type of things that Devin Duvernay can do. Colin, it's going to be more of what type of team does he go to, what's his bill of health going to look like, and what is he going to be asked to do. He can be a fantastic red zone weapon in the NFL. Colin's a mismatch for anybody, but the consistency, is he going to be physical enough? Is he going to get off the line? Those are things that he's going to have to address throughout the draft process. Colin, if he can, he needs to play in this bowl game.
Yeah.
He needs the reps. He needs to put some more tape out there, and at least leave a good impression.
He needs to play in the senior game too against other seniors, and then he needs to have a really good workout amongst his peers at the combine.
He'll look good though. Like because for his size, he runs good enough.
So who's going to look better? Because I think
Duvernay's going to time well,
fast,
fast,
and I think he's short and compact. So I think his strength exercises and his explosive exercises are going to look pretty impressive.
Anything else we want to touch on, guys? Because
I do not want Larry Fedora as my O coordinator. No one with the last name Fedora.
please, for the love of God, I don't want anybody with the last name Fedora. Oh man, you guys are awesome. Oh boy, have you ever seen a New England Pats fan in Texas before 2001? Nope. I don't know what y'all are talking about right now, but that's funny. Oh yeah, Ridge, Power Rangers. Hopefully the next movie they make will have my man Tommy in there. Green Ranger was the coldest Power Ranger of all time. He actually
questions we're getting now.
he actually successfully defeated the Power Rangers in season 1. Go back and look it up and do your research.
Now, was he the one who
And then
tried to kill someone with a sword? There was one Power Ranger that tried to kill his roommate with a sword.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's true. That's a true story.
True story.
That's a true story.
True story. Let's see.
What about Kangle?
Yeah, we need Michael Dixon back. I agree.
Yeah, can we just pay him his salary and he just punts for us left and right?
Hey, CPAT, what's good, man? Hook him. Long time. Andy Reid from the Andy Reid coaching tree. Let's see. I think Eric Bieniemy is going to be future head coach. Was somebody telling me Mike Kafka is the quarterback coach for Kansas City?
Casey, yeah.
I mean, that's a person you can go and talk to. I remember him at no. We don't think like that. We want to hire people we're comfortable with.
Hudson Carr should not be seeing any
Zero.
playing time. Maybe 2021.
Oh, let's end on that. Condolences to. Have we gotten an update on the MRI?
Yeah, it's probably if the coaches were saying, yeah, we think it's an ACL, most likely
They did, but then he
tweeted
tweeted something about fake news. So somebody hit me up with the status on Jaquan Jackson. Is it positive for torn ACL? Rage Cactus, thank you for confirming Mike Kafka. Yeah, I'm waiting for that update because
he was looking good this postseason too.
Man, he was killing it. They're going to be off to the state championship game against North Shore in the rematch.
I really wanted to see them in that rematch. Him at full strength.
Sad.
Do you give him a shot without him?
They like their backup. What's his name? Chris Parson. I mean, the guy's got to play a whole lot because they blow everybody out of the water.
So, hasn't announced anything. Tweeted that he's just signing tomorrow. Cool.
Denver Dunbar said you can't end this chat now. We 285 deep. But I appreciate that. So now that I figured this part out, guys, in terms of at least improving, and I apologize for earlier when I was screwing around with the settings and hit something to make it echo. Adding in, I've seen other YouTubers do it. So if I can figure this part out, I want to add in maybe like a conference call type of line for Texas for people to call in. Maybe we do like, some type of, I've seen people do it where like if you want to make a donation, call in or be a certain level of caller or whatever. I think that'd be something that we can figure out logistically. And I'll continue to do my research and learn, but I appreciate everybody in here. 285, I think that's the most we've ever had. So everybody's here to chime in and weigh in on Texas football. And I know I'm not going 1 more hour, Mark. I can't do it. I love y'all, but I got to drive home. Let's see. They have a full quarterback room. Nicky Rose, Matthew Miller. Put some respect on his name.
Best Texas player there.
He trolling now. He trolling now.
I see 295.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So same with that.
That's dope. I appreciate y'all.
No, 293.
Mark Vasquez, Texas, Utah. We got to be all hands on deck.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Think we got somebody that just subscribed. What's good? Now we deep in here talking Texas ball, trying to get back on track. National, early signing day tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get some of your thoughts just on some of the other guys in the class that you're excited to see, because we're not going to talk tomorrow, at least.
Well, I really love our D-line class. I really do. Especially if we get it.
And we just got the Gorham Welsh guy.
Yeah, which I actually didn't know
from
anything.
Longview.
I hit you up. I was like,
what's the tape on this guy?
What's the deal with this guy? Hey, you told me he's a prototypical 3 technique. Already, you told me he's already weighing 270.
Yeah, 6'4", 270.
Okay, so. And
he was like one of the most productive defensive players in the state. He had something like 34 sacks or some crazy number. But just really excited to see him, added onto this class, obviously replacing a Van Fillinger. So that was a good last minute.
And I like the leaders that we have on our team too. Jaquindon is straight up a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Hudson Carr, leader, but he's kind of quiet,
Mm-hmm.
But
he loves Texas. He's a local boy. We've seen him ball down here at Lake Travis.
Yeah.
But both of those guys, look where they took their teams.
Mm-hmm.
Hudson Card and Jaquindon Jackson. Now, granted, they both come from fantastic programs.
Yep.
But still, to consistently do that. Hudson Card's been in the
semifinals
or state finals every year.
And get that job and compete at a high level over and over again. It translates to big time college programs too, if you have the right people around them. So
Dejon Harrison, that's the brother from Hutto.
Yep. That's that quick tip.
So that's guy. There's no, and I apologize for forgetting about him in the class. So that's definitely somebody. He's also a guy that could play defense. He did get hurt though, I thought. In one of the Hutto's game, one of their late season games, I thought he had suffered a knee injury. So that was, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in regards to him, but that may have been unfortunate.
I am worried about our linebacker portion of the class. Completely.
Do we have any?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm worried about. It's like
so whoever was asking about the portal, we got
to hit that portal.
Chris Ash maybe hit up that portal. He maybe that's maybe where he gets his middle linebacker. Who knows? I mean, I think we have options here for sure.
Yeah.
It just sucks. I feel horrible for DeGabriel Floyd, man.
Yeah.
Because he was going to be their guy. And I keep saying it. That was Todd Orlando's Bobby Wagner right there. Just, and I think he's definitely making the right decision retiring from football. Also, I believe Max Cummins retired this week.
Yeah, concussions.
Yeah, so you're seeing a lot of guys step away. Yeah, we also get Marcus Tillman Jr. back from injury. He tore his ACL, I think, or was it? I think it was Achilles, but he had his injury in the Oklahoma State game, and he was a guy I was excited about too, even from the spring game when he had 13 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
So they are getting some folks back.
The coaches were raving about him too preseason. So.
But we don't have any linebackers in this class.
No, that's why that's the thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, and that's tough. Jake Ellinger for all trolling now. I mean, obviously Bijan's the marquee, the 5-star player. He's won every accolade.
Leader too. Not only that, for him to just come forward and say, I want to be that guy that turns Texas around. I mean, that's, to me, screams leadership.
Mm-hmm. Nathan, I think that's bad luck, man, in terms of the injury-prone guys, because Jaquindon Jackson just got hurt, on Saturday.
Yeah, he just got.
or whatever day that was.
I didn't see the injury. I know you sent it to me.
The kid,
I know you said he hit him right in the knee.
Yeah, the kid went right at the knee. But some of these injuries. Now, Jordan Whittington, they did know about, but because he was injured, coming in. But though, I mean, that's just bad luck. What else do you chalk that up to? Like the Gabriel Floyd.
Sometimes usage rate.
Did he know anything about his spine when he was in California in high school? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Like, that's bad luck.
Everyone's getting surgery. Everyone's using that college scholarship to get get their fixes.
David Benda, that's another linebacker we mentioned earlier who we forgot about. He's
young too.
He's young.
He's extremely young. So he's actually he'll be a redshirt freshman next year, right?
He only played one game.
Yeah.
He only played the Kansas
that.
game. I also think so. There was another name for OC, by the way. I forgot to run this by everybody that I started hearing about. Was the Kansas State offensive coordinator? I believe his name is Courtney Messingham, who came over from North Dakota State. He was the OC for Chris Kleiman, but his name has popped up a lot. Courtney Messingham's name has popped up a lot from what I've heard because he worked with Tom Herman at Iowa State, I think in like 2009 or something like that. So just another person, another name to throw into the mix of potential candidates.
Anyone Tom Herman has heard, he walked his dog.
Whoa, Drew said that the Gabriel Floyd was aware of it in high school.
He literally coaching staff and they took proactive. Well, good job for the coaching staff for doing that.
Y'all are funny. Brent Dearman, he thrashed us. I think Jaquinta Jackson's going to be a quarterback. I saw the way he improved throwing the football from his junior year to senior year was very, very impressive. And he's got a hell of an arm. Very, very, and the leadership quality. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't be a fantastic linebacker prospect, but
I think he's like a Roshan.
I think he's coming
here
here.
Anything that he can play.
I think he's coming here to be a quarterback, for sure. All right, we're wrapping.
Uncle Rico.
We're wrapping at the 2-hour mark, guys. We're at 152 right now. Develop some corners. Well, that's why we got Chris Ash, guys. As Tom Herman talked about, I need people to play man coverage no matter what. Whether you're young or old, you should be able to play man coverage. I need people to be able to find the ball. And I need people to be able to, play proper technique, turn the right way, depending on what's going on, right? And those are things, like you said in one of the previous videos, no matter who's been out there at corner for us, that's been a recurring issue.
Yeah, so that's why I think we should give Bryant Westbrook a analyst role, and we get Keely Ringo there.
Ooh, we haven't talked about Keely Ringo, who I don't think is signing.
He's pushing it back.
He's pushing. That's great news for Texas.
Yeah, it is. No, he basically has almost pushed it forward to say that he's down to Georgia and Texas. I mean, offhandedly has done that
because they still try to throw
huge,
Oregon and LSU
huge Georgia lane. It's understandable why. I mean, they've had really good production from their defense. But if you really want to play right away, I mean, he's a Derek Stingley type, don't you think?
Yes.
He's just a special player.
I think
I've been on his bandwagon for
he's
2 years now.
I don't think he's as refined as Stingley, but in terms of talent,
I think he's bigger than him.
I think he's bigger and he can do some things more physical. Yeah. Stingley's hips and
so fluid.
I mean,
he's so fluid.
He's second to none. Stingley's one of my favorite prospects. When Murph Baldwin, the guy that runs Top Billin', it's a great film study channel for SEC football. He made a video over a year ago saying Derek Stingley's the best freshman that's ever been recruited into the SEC, which was, I was like, whoa! And you look at him on film. Pro Football Focus had him graded as the #1 corner in the country.
Like a 96 or
90
something?
like a 93. He was even over Akuda from Ohio State. The brother that we faced too, Robertson, Louisiana Tech, number 21, that was all over the place. He finished 3rd.
Yeah.
So there were some good players. Rage Cactus. Speaking of, you've been on one all night, man. He said Ringo's trying to throw the NCAA off the scent of Georgia's bagmen. Y'all are oh man. If I could throw a like to Rage Cactus, I would. Jalen Green, why do you think Cat Videos? Why do you think Jalen Green was disappointing? I think he had some growing pains, but he also he made some good plays this year. I thought he was our best corner, actually. Zachary Evans from North Shore.
I think he's going to LSU.
Ooh.
I think he's going to LSU. With this offense and him actually being able to probably play right away. Hilaire is going to be the workhorse first, but I think he'll get in the middle of the season.
Isn't Hilaire a junior?
Yeah, I don't think he's going pro right now. He got dunked on.
I like Kenyatta Watson. Kenyatta Watson made Big 12 something for the Tech game. Yeah, something. Zachary Evans, though, is interesting.
Do we need Evans?
No.
I like.
I'm not really sure we don't need him, but like
running back.
I was there. I'll be honest with you. Real time, I was there because he was at the time like the #1 player in the country. Mm-hmm. But at the time, Bijan didn't even have his. Grant, I'm not just being a recruiting whore or anything like that, but like I didn't know what we were gonna get in Bijan. And then for him to come on and have the senior year that he had, and then Zachary Evans being a head case and having every week it's something going on with Zachary Evans. Like, so North Shore, by the way, after they lost their first game, who did they lose to? They lost to, was it Katy in the first game? So they lost to somebody in the first game of the year. And ever since then, they've been whooping everybody's ass. And now they're back. It's like, guys, don't forget about us. We're still the reigning state champs. But he shows up, I think, in the second half of the Duncanville game and just goes off. And I'm like, where the hell was he in the first half? And they were like, he was taking his ACTs. I'm serious. They were like, he was taking his ACTs. I was like, did they think they had this in the bag to where they could just... You're playing Lake Travis, bro. Like, yeah, I can take my ACTs today.
They didn't really need him against Lake Travis.
Oh, man. Thank you guys for confirming it was Katy that they lost to in that first game. Yeah, I think it was on ESPN. Yeah, Evans is a lot. I mean, he's super talented. Yeah, special.
I'm not saying I'm not downgrading his talent. I just like if Bijan stays, there's only one rock that can be toted, you know. So and we already have 4 legit running backs. So it's a little crowded. And then if you throw in another 5-star, someone's gonna start. People are gonna start transferring.
Wow, I think we're over 300 people in here. So as soon as I say I'm getting ready to leave, y'all just start jumping back in. But I gotta wrap it up, guys. I really appreciate everybody that's come on. Make sure you guys, I'm gonna do my last Bosses Ranch promo. Phenomenal product. I say it every video, guys, and I mean it. Go check them out, HEB Cold Produce.
Explain some other Zach Evans head case moments. He doesn't like bosses.
The stuff I've heard with the coaching staff and being a little bit of a diva, and some of the internal things that we've heard, maybe it's rumors, maybe it's overblown, but when you see, hear about some of the way the recruiting stuff was handled, the comments he made about the Georgia stuff. It's interesting. Hey, train only stream would be fun. He can go into you want to go into some more strength and conditioning stuff?
We can. We can go.
Rage Cactus is funny, man. Real funny. Allegedly he punched the coach. I mean, we got guys on our team that punched the coach. Allegedly.
He only gets suspended or do they get suspended for the whole game?
Who? Well, they said Juwan Mitchell had a hamstring.
Yeah. Oh, hamstring, yeah. Hamstring from the
and
lunge.
Said he had a hamstring in the pregame warm-ups. So, oh, man. All right, guys. We're going to wrap. Tom Herman, we're going to get him on the bosses. Somebody said cough, cough.
Cough, cough. You guys are cracking me up today.
Yeah, it is. They beat me to it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they said all of a sudden he pulled a hamstring. It's like the nonsense they did with Anthony Cook too. Whenever I guess he cussed out Jason Washington, and then all of a sudden his reps were suspicious in the game or whatever. Like, we got to do a better job at sorting through conflict. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to hear about you disciplining people, but y'all last in the damn conference in penalties. Y'all are 119th in penalty yards per game, 121 in penalty yards, or penalties and penalties accepted, penalty yards accepted. I mean, that's inexcusable. That's inexcusable.
It is. It's something that can be preventable. I mean, and that's the thing, especially pre-snap penalties. It's something that's because you're always going to get your couple holds
and
or something like that because other teams have athletes and they can get by you.
Yeah,
and you don't want your.
And we had some stuff at the most. I hate, Iowa State. We have offsides by a captain. Mm-hmm. Like these types of things that
with 2 minutes left, though, there's 2 minutes left,
that just don't get cleaned up, and it's frustrating. We will do some more lives, especially after. I may have to do one while I'm in Dallas, depending on what's going on. But we'll do the next video with us will be the Utah video. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have a full Utah prep video. We'll get into our normal matchup stuff. Rage Cactus needs to be on all live chats. I agree with that, Drew.
Yeah. Just have him sitting over here in the corner with us and just type it every week.
Oh man, I promise you that when you got people like that in your stream, it makes it easy.
Yeah,
it definitely makes it easy. So, God bless you guys. We appreciate y'all. Horns always up.